Last week in week 6, you read this short passage entitled, Could Saving Money Be the Key to Happiness? And I asked you to write a short summary. I should have returned that summary to you with some comments, including this sample summary. But to get us started for today, let's take a look at this summary together. It says, everyone knows the saying, money can't buy happiness. But according to the article, Could Saving Money Be the Key to Happiness by Anna Williams, we might be wrong about that. Research has shown that the more money we have, the happier we are. But it's not about spending our money on expensive things. Actually, saving money makes us happier. It makes us happier than being healthy, eating good food, or even making a lot of money. So, that's what the passage says. And you might notice it's a pretty short summary because it's a pretty short passage. But now that we understand what the passage is saying, we have to think, well, how would we respond to this? If you had to write an essay response, what might it say? And this is one of those passages where it's probably not very useful to say, I agree or I disagree, because after all, these are just facts. I mean, this is research. So you can't really disagree with facts, right? You can't really agree with facts because they are true whether you believe them or not. However, there are a lot of ways that you could respond to these. You could question these, you could wonder if there's more to the story, and as we saw last week, you can consider causes and consequences. And that's what I asked you to do by completing this incomplete essay response to that passage. This entire response focuses mostly on why. It's talking about causes. And I asked you to read through this and finish it. Now, the first paragraph of this response was already complete. The second paragraph was mostly complete, but I asked you to read what it says here and figure out what's the point of this paragraph and then state that in a topic sentence. Well, looking through this paragraph, it's saying that the article compares saving to exercising and eating healthy. So all of these things like saving and exercising and eating healthy require sacrifice in the short term, but in the long term, they make you feel good. So you might feel happy right away if you eat a cheeseburger or a candy bar, but in the long term, you will feel a different kind of happiness. You'll feel proud of yourself. You'll feel satisfied with yourself. And it repeats against that idea that we're satisfied with ourselves. Notice that a lot of this paragraph is kind of making that point that when we save money, we feel good about ourselves, we feel satisfaction, and in fact, that's the topic of the paragraph. So, to make this organization really clear to help the reader understand that's what this paragraph is saying, we would begin with a topic sentence that says something like, let's say, for one thing, um, I think it's about feeling satisfied with yourself. Now, you might have phrased this in a slightly different way, but the important thing is whatever words you use, you want to capture that's what this paragraph is doing. It's explaining why saving makes us feel happier. And in this paragraph, the reason is because it makes you feel satisfied with yourself. Now, the next paragraph, you were given the topic sentence, but you were not given the rest of the paragraph. And your task was to take this idea, saving money makes people happy because it makes them feel secure, and explain that. So you're explaining why saving increases happiness by increasing security. Now, there are, of course, a million ways you could have supported this idea, but I'm going to just give you one sample paragraph here. Um, you might have said something like this. Not only that, saving money makes people happy because it makes them feel secure. Life is uncertain and we never know when something bad will happen. We live in a world where it is hard to find a job, so we worry about losing our job and not being able to pay the rent. We don't know when something might happen, like a health problem or an accident. Or maybe we worry that our kids will need braces or paying for education. My point is that we all have a lot to worry about. So if we have some money saved, it's a good feeling. We can relax because we know that if something goes wrong, we are ready and things will be okay because we have some money. And like the article says, the more you save, the happier you are. I think it's because the more you save, the less you need to worry. And of course, that makes people happier. So as you can see here, it's explaining that there's a good reason that saving makes people happier. If you're not worried, if you're not stressed out, anybody is going to be happier, right? If they have that feeling of security, knowing that they'll be okay. So you have now a complete essay response. I mean, we've got a summary, then we've got actually three buddy paragraphs here. But how did we come up with this? Imagine if this were your essay. What do you think the plan might have been for an essay like this one? Well, we've got three buddy paragraphs. And if you think back, that first buddy paragraph says, I was very surprised. When I think about money and happiness, I think about spending money. So I'm surprised that saving money makes us happier. And it makes me wonder, why does saving make people happy? You know, this paragraph is basically just kind of reacting. Whoops, let me go back down to my plan here. This paragraph is basically just giving a personal reaction. How does this make you feel? But of course, part of that reaction is asking the question, why? It makes me wonder, why do people feel happier if they have money saved? And if you notice, again, the other two buddy paragraphs are really answering that question. The first, or the second rather, the second buddy paragraph is giving, let's say, cause number one. Saving makes you satisfied with yourself, right, in the long term. And then the next buddy paragraph, the third buddy paragraph, considers another cause. This is cause number two, um, which is that saving money makes you feel secure. You're not worried about money, so of course you feel happier. So I just want to point out, to end up with an essay that is organized like this one, we need to start with a plan. And I can see in this essay, this is probably what the plan was. I also want to just really quickly point out that every paragraph in this response is tied in some way to the article. The first paragraph even just mentions the article. I was surprised by this article, right? The next paragraph again mentions the article and it paraphrases something by saying, the article compares saving to exercising, etc., etc. And this last body paragraph, it also mentions the article. At the end here, in fact, there's even a quote, and like the article says, the more you save, the happier you are. And I think it's because the more you save, the less you need to worry. So remember, organization is important to an effective essay response, and explaining your ideas clearly in detail is important to an effective essay response. And mentioning the article, staying focused on the topic, staying on that passage is also part of a successful essay.